Hello and welcome to Mellow Labs. On today's episode, I'm going back in time and I'm controlling my computer with an IR remote. And I'll show you how, after this message from my sponsor. JLCPCB. With 19 years of experience and 5 state-of-the-art factories, it's no wonder that over 5.4 million engineers across 180 plus countries rely on their reliable and affordable services. Getting started is easy. Simply upload your Gerber files, get an instant quote, and place your order within minutes. It's just that easy. Whether you're prototyping or producing in volume, JLCPCB offers unbeatable pricing with 1 to 8 layer PCBs starting from just $2. But it's not just affordability. JLCPCB delivers premium quality with lightning turnaround times. Your boards can be ready within as little as 24 hours. All thanks to their fully in-house production process, which ensures quality control at every stage. And right now, there's an exclusive offer where you can get 6-layer PCBs for just $5 with $30 off of your first order. If you're ready to take your electronic projects to the next level, visit JLC PCB. I need a little keypad for my computer, specifically to trigger shortcuts. I just want to press a button and it will trigger shortcuts. Specifically, I need this for my live streams every other week at 6 p.m. on Mondays. Every so often, I will switch to a scene and then I'll forget I'm on that scene and I'll try to show you guys something and you can't see it because the camera's not pointing at it. So I need something that I can just wirelessly click that will tell my computer to switch between those scenes. Now, there's a lot of different ways of doing this, from buying something ludicrously expensive like the Stream Deck or making my own one, which I'm kind of in between. Now, I specifically want it to be wireless so that I can be on the go switching scenes as needed. And that kind of narrows down my options a little bit. I could use Wi-Fi, but that would probably require me hosting something on my computer in order to connect to the microcontroller through Wi-Fi. It's just a whole can of worms I don't really want to deal with. So what I'd really like is something that will plug into my computer, that will work as a receiver of sort, and I have a little remote that just talks to it. For example, IR. Which brings me to this. A while ago, Elecro sent me this advanced Raspberry Pi Pico kit, which amongst a whole bunch of other modules includes an IR receiver and a remote, which will be perfect for what I need. And this is so easy to set up, you won't believe it. Or you will, because you're probably smart. The only other thing I need is a Raspberry Pi Pico and a breadboard and some wires. I'm going to be using this Raspberry Pi Pico W, and yes, I realize that I will be heavily underusing its capabilities, but it's kind of the only thing I have at hand right now, so I'm going with this. I'm going to start by putting the Raspberry Pi Pico onto the breadboard, like so, and then I'm going to grab the little receiver module, like so. It's a very nice little thing. You can plug that in there, connect it to ground, there to there, power, there to which. Why is the silk screen for the pins on the Pico at the bottom? That's very annoying. I have to flip it round every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, plug it into 5. Okay. And now for the GPIO pin, I'm going to use GPIO 2 right there. And that is all the wiring we need. Now I can just plug it into my computer and get it going. When we go to plug it in, we need to hold down the boot button because we need to install CircuitPython. Unfortunately, MicroPython doesn't have the human interface device libraries that we need. So we need to install CircuitPython. It's a lot easier than it sounds. Don't worry about it. I'll walk you through the whole thing. And when you do that, it should open up as a removable drive. This is exactly what we want. Now we're going to open a browser and head over to CircuitPython download .org, and here we're going to select which device we have. I specifically have the Raspberry Pi Pico W, and we're going to download the UF2 file, like so. And then let's head over to my downloads. We're going to just Control X that, and we're going to paste it inside of here. And what that's going to do is transfer that over, and the Pico is going to disconnect and then reconnect itself, hopefully running CircuitPython. Meanwhile, we can open up Thunny when this transfer is done, there we go, it disconnected, and it should open up again here. There we go, we've got boot. And then here, we just need to make sure we are on the correct device. Fantastic. Now, we need to download the CircuitPython IR remote library. Don't worry, I'll have all this stuff linked below the like and subscribe button. So if we head over here, it's a GitHub, and we need to download the one that's corresponding to the version of CircuitPython that we are using, which if we look here is version 9.2 whatever, but that doesn't matter. So if we look here, we've got version 9. We're just going to download that one, and then head over to our downloads. And we're just going to extract all, click through, and then here we've got this lib folder, which is, I assume, short for library. We're just going to copy that, and then here we're just going to paste that in. And now I've got a little test script that we can run on the Pico just by pasting it into Thani and clicking the run button, which will hopefully spit out some information for us. Fantastic. So every single button has a corresponding sort of ID number. Now, I've already taken the liberty of jotting down all of the buttons on the remote and writing down the corresponding IR code number when you press the button. Now that we've verified that the remote works as intended, we can move to the human input device side. Now, if you've never used a human input device, that's probably not possible because touchscreens, mouses, keyboards, trackpads, they're all human input devices. And what we can do with something like a Raspberry Pi Pico with CircuitPython is pretend to be a human input device. So as far as the computer knows, this is a mouse and keyboard. It might not seem like it, and it does open up a gateway of some nefarious activities. We're not going to do that. We're just going to tell it to input some shortcuts. Back on our computer, we need to head over to the browser again, and we need to head over to CircuitPython human input device, and again, we need to download the library. So again, check the version number of what you're using. I'm using 9. We're just going to download this zip. Head over here, open in File Explorer, and extract, like so. Now in here, instead of copying the library folder, we want to click into it and copy the Adafruit hat folder, and then we're going to head back into our library folder that's on the Pico. We're going to paste that in here, and that should be good. We can also check if it's here inside of the Thani IDE, and you can see we've got it there. So now I've got a little test script that will that we can paste in here, which will simply print subscribe to Mellow Labs. Beautiful. If we run that, it should type it. There we go. So that it did automatically. So now we've got the individual parts working. We've got the remote and we've got the human input device side. So now I'm gonna grab the actual script that I wrote to do stuff on my computer, and we're just going to paste that in here. So now here I've got an entire list of stuff. The first thing in the list is the button IR codes. So you'd want to change those depending on your codes, because I think they're going to change from, you know, remote to remote. There's different versions and stuff like that. You might have more buttons or less buttons. There's actually buttons that are hidden under here that I can't access because I don't have pressable areas here. But I've removed the cover that's on top here, and there are buttons there, and they do actually work. So if I ever wanted to, I could you know, add some things here to actually press the buttons. I won't because I don't need them, but that's a possibility. So we've got the codes, we've got the label of the button, and then we have the action I want the button to perform. I specifically have this set up to be Control-Alt from 1 to 0, and, you know, other stuff too, and it's mostly so that it doesn't interact with any other shortcuts that I may have running at the same time. So this all works, and now if I run this script, we can do that, and it will tell me that I've pressed the first button, and it did something, but it didn't actually do anything because I don't have that set up yet. So if I head over to OBS, now I'm only using OBS as an example. This should work with any program. So if I head over to settings and then hotkeys, and I go to switch to this, and then I hit this button, you will see Control-Alt-1. So now if I also select this one and say that's 2, and then I click apply and OK, and that should switch between the two different scenes I have. Fantastic. So now I can plug that into my computer over there and just have the remote with me and switch scenes just like that. Oh, I'm pointing it over there, but I don't have the thing there. It's still here. That makes sense. The only other thing I want to do is actually permanently solder on the IR receiver to the Raspberry Pi Pico so that I don't have to deal with the breadboard. So let's go ahead and do that. And there it is. I think it looks pretty good. I did think about 3D printing like a little enclosure to like keep it nice and safe, but I might add stuff to this in the future depending if this setup works for me. So I'm just going to leave it bare for now. The last thing we need to do is to save the code so that whenever my computer turns on or we plug this in, it starts listening for the commands and starts doing stuff on the computer side. Now, because we're using CircuitPython, normally with MicroPython you'd call the boot file boot.py. Do not do this with CircuitPython or you will very quickly find out that you need to nuke your flash. Don't ask me how I know. So what we actually need to do is we're going to save it. We're going to save it on the circuit device and we're going to call it code.py. Do not call it boot, do not call it main. For some reason, trying those two for me just ended me in a world of trouble where I had to nuke my flash twice. So code.py it is. And now, when I unplug it and plug it back in, it should start listening to commands. We might actually have to, if I jump over here, you can see that it works straight away. So, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, support me on Patreon if you can, and I'll see you on next week's live stream. Goodbye. With an IR remote, it was slower than I expected.